Hi, I'm Jade Brooks, and I'm here with Mike Savage, and we're going to be asking him a few questions for the Love Video Project. So Mike, how could the city support youth programs better?
Well, I think there's a lot of ways we can support youth programs better. Just this morning we did an announcement on healthy communities, and we talked about setting up a healthy communities granting system. So organizations could apply for small amounts of money, $500 to $5,000, which would be involved in healthy projects, a lot of which I think would be some of the stuff that organizations like Love work with. And we would have it run by an independent board of directors. I think that's a good thing. There's some good projects, you know, Gen Next at United Way, and there's other groups that are involving young people. And I think the city has a direct role in trying to support and encourage people to do good work in the community. For me, it's about, you know, the answers lie in the community. You don't need a mayor or a council to create them. We just have to go and listen to what's existing and then maybe make a few funds available. I think we can do a lot.
Great. So what do you see as the #1 problem with Halifax, and what do you propose to do about it?
Well, one of the problems is the extremely bright lights here, but that we can manage that. I think the biggest problem in Halifax, in the whole region, is that people have lost faith in government. They've seen secret deals, they've seen closed-door meetings. They don't feel connected to government. So I think we need leadership that listens, is prepared to learn, engage with people, understand the issues, and then make decisions in a collegial way. And for me, it's been very exciting for me to see people who I've been in, for example, Parliament with as an MP from other parties, like Megan Leslie and Alexa McDonough, and people like that have said, we think you'd be a good leader, Mike, because you can bring people together. And you're open-minded, not judgmental, and we need to be able to get smart people around the table and listen to them and make decisions. And I think we can do that.
All right. How can the city better include the history of minorities in Halifax public programming?
Well, I think that's a very good question. I think what we've seen in Africville is positive, a positive step in the right direction. I've been through the museum there, and I think it's very well done, first of all. But it's an important message. The Black Cultural Center, Micmac Friendship Centers. These are all things that tell a very important story about the history of this community. And I don't think we do as good a job overall on telling our history. I think we probably did a better job in many ways years ago when we actually had civics in the classroom and learned a bit of history. Now, some of that history has to be updated and reflective of more facts than it has been. But the telling our story is really important, and it's a passion for me. I was a history major, and I think you learn a lot about where you are today by looking at where you were, and then you can decide where you're going to go. So I would see myself being involved in that, and again, listening to the community and saying, what is the story that we need to tell, and how do we get it out there, and how does the municipality help? I kind of find that exciting.
That's a great answer. So the bus service really sucks. What do you think the city can do to improve it?
Well, I think they could make it suck less, for one thing. I mean, we do have bad, I don't think our bus service is good. I don't think anybody would suggest that it's good. I don't use the bus very often. When I go to other cities, Ottawa, Toronto, I use the bus, or I use the subway, because I know where it's going, and I know I'm going to be able to get back. And I know if I need to make a transfer that it'll work for me.
Yep.
And we don't really have transit that is people-focused. I mean, we're thinking about moving buses as opposed to moving people. So we need to have a long-term strategic vision of how are we going to move people, how are we going to transport goods across this municipality. So connect people who walk and bike to the buses a lot better. But then I think we can do a lot better job on routing. I think we can use technology more. We can use a lot more GPS so that people know exactly when the buses are coming. You know, buses should be Wi-Fi enabled, so you can get on there and use your iPad or whatever it is and make the experience better. That shouldn't be a very hard thing to do. But beyond buses, I want to use the harbour more. You know, we shouldn't be cutting back on ferry service. We should be using that water a lot more, and we should be looking at other ways to connect people to get them in and out. When the shipbuilding contract is in full tilt, how are we going to get a couple of thousand people more in and out of the North End? The obvious route is the harbour. You know, Shannon Park or Spryfield. You know, get people connected on the water. So I do think that that's one thing that is a real priority for the next council, is to get a transit system that works and connected to active transportation. Another
great answer. So if you're elected, how will you encourage youth involvement in politics?
Well, I think in a lot of ways. You know, I think through organizations like Love, for example, are very good. I've worked with organizations like that in the past, connected into the community. I want to see us do more work on things like social exclusion and poverty as well, and get some young people involved in explaining how we're going to solve those things. So I called for a mayor's task force on poverty and homelessness. And I think that I want to talk to people who live in poverty, or people who are passionate about it, who know people who live in poverty, get involved, and let's figure that stuff out. And then find a way. There's a great program in Toronto called Diverse City, which works particularly with people, visible minorities and new Canadians. And it not only sort of says, well, welcome, which is the first step, but it trains and mentors people so they can be involved in boards and commissions and involved in the community. And then eventually it's going to lead to having more people involved in politics. We need more elected people from the visible minority community, from young people, and from new Canadians.
All right. So how would you improve the selection and training of police officers?
Well, I guess I have opinions on that. I'm not sure that I'm an expert on that. I think that the police have tried to be more sensitive to the fact that we need more people from other communities than have been represented. So I think that's a good thing in terms of bringing them in. I love the community policing model. I've talked to a number of community police officers. We need to make sure that not only police, but bus drivers, school teachers understand cultural sensitivity, make sure that they're brought into that process. In terms of the hiring, I'd have to learn as we go. I'm just not an expert in that, and I wouldn't want to suggest that I was, but I think we can do better.
Great. Well, that's the end of our questions, so
Can I ask
thank
you
you
a
for coming
couple?
today. Sure.
What's that saying, you sure?
This is Be Awesome.
Now that's a good slogan for Halifax. Be awesome. We can be awesome.
There
Thank
have
you very
it.
much, Jade.
Mike Savage.